for that spot is
listen,
where I got
you
the
have
job.
tons of
Oh,
mail.
they're
I
10
do?
times more
Yes.
because you got them on vacation too. Come on.
Oh, yeah.
I have
yeah.
tons of mail.
Did you see the development on the guy? The
Oh, yeah.
before and after? He was just a skinny guy.
Was he?
Yeah,
And he just did it for the movie, or?
yeah. They have personal trainers that these guys sometimes develop a month or two or three months.
Okay.
It's night and day.
Yeah.
The amount of muscle that they develop, but they don't do anything else but for the role.
Yeah.
So there's 3 months, 5 days of working out, and it's atrocious.
It's amazing what you can do quickly, right? I mean, it's just great. I mean,
They live for that. A lot of the majority of the actors hate it. Some like it, very small percentage. Because what they go through is insane.
yeah, it's tough, right? It's mentally tough, right?
Most people would drown.
Yeah,
They wouldn't survive. They would quit this first day.
understood, understood.
Make sure you stay right there. Or let me know if you're gonna move. Not that I need your picture in the video, but just in
Is this a
case.
hold on?
Hey, how you doing? Glad
How
you
you
showed
doing?
up. Good to see you. Hello there, stranger.
Hi.
Glad to see you too.
I know, my car's bad.
I heard about that. Everything's okay
Car
now?
accident.
Yeah, everything okay?
It
Good.
just was like, just really insane because it was the front. So I basically almost totaled my car. And it was one of those things where it was like $500 away from it, you know what I mean? So they waited forever to like approve it and then I didn't have rentals. So
How much did
I was
they,
struggling real estate, that's why no money.
how much did they spend on
On the total repair, when I picked it up on Friday, it was like
9, 10 grand.
84.
Sure.
We are.
Why not?
We are.
How much the value?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'll
9K. So
I'll
it's
do
like,
45 minutes for this, and then we can kind
It's
of
a
map out.
strategy that
You wanna give me the time to mark
Yep.
it? Let me know.
I will.
I highly recommend you take it.
I'll give you like a 15 minutes left, so you can kind of wrap up whatever.
Yeah, and sometimes
Yeah.
they don't
Yeah.
address.
I think the
thing.
structure that we wanna go with this one, with this
If it
now,
does
for
happen,
the year,
guys,
is
just
gonna
to
be,
salvage it.
to talk about a little bit last night, is
30
gonna be
years
kind
in
of
the car.
spitballing
alright.
with, okay, kinda like what you normally do, but maybe a
Selling
little
cars
bit more,
back in the 90s.
maybe a little bit more structure in the sense
all-
of,
Where?
okay, so
Santa
let's pretend
Barbara.
we're gonna go for,
USC.
obviously we're gonna go for a
Okay, cool.
year.
Cool, cool.
So, what are some of the
It was
foundational things that we need to
USC
do,
or
even if
USC
it's
Santa
kind of talking
Barbara?
about some of the same
My mom
stuff we
works
talked about? Because you know that
And
goes,
I
it'll be,
decided
hey,
to
come
go
take
to
a
Santa
seat,
Barbara
Borat,
for the beach.
learn something.
And
If you, you know, if you hear the same thing over and over.
University
you're gonna
reminds me of
find. So,
Alcatraz.
some of the foundational stuff like meetings, scheduling.
That doesn't sound good.
It's on that,
Just
it's on
kind
that
of going back to
edge.
new
I mean,
year, new
You
start,
know how
and I don't wanna
to get
be
in, you have to go
dead
through
horse
this
with the
one
same stuff,
single
but I think
I
you
front
gotta be dead horse with the
of,
same stuff.
if you ever go there, it's.
And you
it's
know,
a
I mean,
highway,
you know better than I
And
do.
then it goes
Sure.
into an individual.
So maybe kind of,
two-way
some kind of a
to the
foundational,
front, and it's
like that, so.
extensive
You got it,
to
you got
the
it.
end of the
I'll do the January
The
shit.
university's
There
on
you
the
go.
tip of
Yeah,
the
to a certain
ocean.
degree, I mean, then you can kind of
Yeah.
feel the
It's
pulse
like
of it, and you can
Overlooks,
kind of,
right?
Yeah, it's like.
Very
flip
an
it to,
island kind of, and,
you know,
and
because I mean, some people don't wanna hear that, some people wanna hear the,
I was,
the new
there
stuff,
on,
'cause it's
on,
new.
Yeah.
I was, I just on
I'll
the
keep that
corner.
happening every time.
Yes, 100%.
There's four.
Yep.
at
Okay.
All right, are we ready to go, guys? We
Two
are?
minutes.
Okay, great.
Upper. I apologize.
It's okay.
Okay, guys, I'll keep it relatively brief today, but I figure I'll do a January speech here, if that's cool with you guys. We'll do a little January. Happy New Year, by the way.
Happy New Year.
Thank you, thank you. So I got last Monday, which was the 6th, I had somebody ask me this question. I actually got the question twice. The question was, it's January, it's Monday, January 6th, what do you recommend for me to get started this year? And my answer to him was, of course, if you're thinking like a business owner, that's a kind of a silly question, because what you do on Monday, January 6th should be no different from what you do on like Wednesday, July 18th, if you know what I mean. It's like,
Right.
it's the same thing. You're supposed to do, in a day, you're supposed to do the same thing and just replicate for 261 business days or however many you work, right? So I said, okay, but since you asked the question, I'll answer it. So what I want to do is share with you guys 3 or 4 things actually, that basically you just need to do, okay? And it's New Year's, so more people are more inspired to start now. Okay, great, I like that, I'm in. But I'm not a fan of it. I don't really care about the gym membership nonsense, even though it helps my business as a coach, because suddenly everybody wants to sign up for coaching. But even with that or without that, I want you to build a business. So I've got really 4 things for you. And Most people don't do any of the four, and that's why they don't get the business results. I don't mean they don't do all of them, they don't do any of them.
Wow.
So I'm gonna challenge you on all of these, are you
Okay.
ready? Number one is, you have to keep showing up. You have to keep showing up. I have a mentor who used to say, all you have to do is keep showing up and God performs the miracles. I think there's some truth to that. You know, the problem I have is, when people even pay me for coaching, the show up rate is 70%. Why would they not show up for a coaching session when they pay for the coaching? But then I'm on the phone and I have to chase them because they didn't get on the coaching session with me. And, you know, to be honest with you, like, here's one from this morning, and I not only called and got no answer, but I texted afterwards and still get no answer.
No one's home.
And that's normal,
Oh, wow.
because most people don't have what it takes to build a business. Which, by the way, is nothing more than, determination and perseverance. It's really not hard to build a business. You have to keep showing up. You have to. We're here, and I'm doing this every month for, it's been 2 hours, and this year we're gonna go 1 hour, because I'm gonna be spending more private time with Mark, right? But even this, I tell people all the time, keep showing up. But as you three know, where are all the regulars? And the answer is there are no regulars, because people just don't show up. And they'll say, I had an appointment get in the way. Well, if this was supposed to be your growth time, then how can you let an appointment get in the way? All you have to do is schedule the appointment around it. Like, if somebody's coaching with me as a client, I'm not gonna schedule another appointment on top of it. I simply schedule in a different time slot and say that's not available, if that makes sense. You have to keep showing up, okay? And showing up means nothing more than that. Now, showing up means showing up to, whether it's coaching and mentoring, whether it's with me or, Angel, of course, or Felix, or whatever you got going on in the office, you gotta show up. And the second thing is you gotta show up to work every day and actually do it, okay? That's it, you gotta show up.
Action.
When people say I work harder than most people, I actually just show up. I don't know that I'm working harder, I don't know anybody who's working harder or less or whatever, but I'm showing, okay. Let's go to number two. Number two is you gotta measure. You got to measure. Watching the college football championship on Monday, right? And they have a scoreboard, and everybody's looking at the scoreboard the whole game. And you can't operate, if the scoreboard malfunctioned, what would they do with the game? I mean, it would be a disaster. But you people run businesses without a scoreboard. There is no way to build a business without a scoreboard. Hello?
Hello.
So, we have to track and measure what we're doing. I'll give you an example of it in a little bit. I'd probably like to do it maybe right at the end. If Mark's out, I'm sure he'll come back into the end, or maybe he's coming in now, but I would like to do that with you guys. I'm gonna show you an example of tracking. You get what you measure, and the more frequently you measure it, the better it gets. Let me give you a real life example. I have only 5 goals for this year, right? And they're super short, and they're super silly. So, my 5 goals, I'm almost done with one of them already, and today's January 15th. So one of them it was just a weight goal. I wanted to be at 159, because that's a weight where I know I have my best energy-ish. If I was up to 168, 169 over the holidays, right? And for me, it's fine, I'm not overweight or anything like this, but I feel it in my energy. I start finding myself getting a little lazier, sleeping too much, overeating, whatever. If I'm under 159, my energy's not great. For me, for whatever reason, that's kind of a sweet spot for me, right? So I was at 168, 169 over Christmas-ish, right, or whatever. So I'm at 160.2 this morning, and I'll be done, I wanna be done tomorrow. With my whole year goal, I wanna be done already, and tomorrow's January 16th.
Unbelievable.
How did I get there? Are you ready? Very simple, I measured.
Measure.
How do you measure? What did I do?
You had a target and a specific date to accomplish that goal, and you acquired it.
Yeah, I said I wanted, in 2020, by the end of the year even, get to 159, right? Of course, I want to do it sooner. So I got on a scale every day, several times a day. And I looked at the number, and I kept it on. I know I'm anal retentive, and I lose all my credibility and all my coolness when I privately coach people and they start seeing what I actually do, but I started just tracking it. So, and then when it went from 161.4, and the next day it was 161.4 after I was extremely disciplined about my eating, I'm like, what the heck is that all about? It should be lower. But you just have to have patience, because sometimes the results don't come when you want them to come, and the next day, I don't feel like I did a great job and it went to 160.2. Okay, but I am fiercely intense about getting there, and if you want to get off in that topic, we can do that. What did I do in the last 8 days to basically knock off 9 pounds, 10 pounds? But my energy, I feel it, it's already back. And I see it in my face. And by the way, I'm gonna say something that I hope it doesn't offend anybody in this room, but there are numerous studies that show a correlation between weight and income. Which is why when you go to the top 10 richest people on earth list, I want you to think through what they look like. Number one is Jeff Bezos of Amazon. Okay, then you got like Bill Gates and Warren Buffett and Mark Zuckerberg and Carlos Slim, even his name, right? You get the drift, right?
Sure.
So, maybe, I don't know if there's a correlation between just weight and energy or energy and production. I don't know, but I think there is for me. Okay, measuring. You get what you measure, and the more frequently you measure it, the better it gets. When I work with clients privately, one-on-one, there's always measuring involved. And it almost always, just the measuring alone, makes them do more business. Because we're always looking at what our goal is and where we stand, and we're doing it constantly. So if you take number one, just keep frickin' showing up, and combine it with number two, always measure, daily, how can you miss? Right? We had this objective, and I shared with Mark, so I hope this doesn't come off as prideful or weird, it's not the point, but we had this objective last year to hit 7 figures as a coaching business. I'm the only coach, right? So it's amazing how when you have a target, you're obsessive over a target, how much you hit it. I just came from Jennifer Puglisi's office for Next Champions out in, she's the owner out there, right? And she's telling me privately this morning that they did in revenues, 998 million something in sales. And she is so pissed off that she didn't hit $1 billion in total sales between all of her offices and realtors. And she's like, if I'd only known the number, she would have hit the goal. She'd have found a way. Does that make sense?
If you could break it down into what does it take? It's like doing cooking a cake. What are the ingredients I need to make this cake?
That's right. It's just simple. It's like, so Roz is getting on my case, the gal that works with me in my team, who's kind of my right hand, and she's getting on my case because we fell short of a 6-month number by $120, and I didn't let her know until like January 2nd. And she's like, if you'd have told me, I'm like, I wanted to respect your vacation. I don't want to bother you during the vacation. She's like, I want to hit the $120. She's all offended at me, right? But does everybody understand? You just have to keep showing up, and you have to measure, and you have to be with people that measure, so kind of you do it together, whatever. Okay, let's go on. I'm going to show you an interesting new way to measure later that I have not, I only do privately with clients, but I'll show it to you visually, and if it's something you like, maybe we change the nature of these meetings this year, instead of me just fire hosing people all the time with my yelling and speeching, and maybe we actually keep coming back and reporting some of this stuff and updating it each month. Would be kind of interesting, although I don't like to waste a lot of time on it, right? Okay, ready for number 3? The reason you don't like your results is because you don't spend any time selling. Number 3 is always be selling, and I want to be more specific on the selling. I don't like the expression always be selling because it's kind of 1980s Wall Street. Okay, I'm going to read you from one of my all-time favorite business books called Ready, Fire, Aim by a lunatic named Michael Masterson, who has an entire section devoted to something he calls the supremacy of selling. Now, I don't know what happened in America, but 100 years ago, if somebody asked you what you did for a living, and you said, I'm a sales professional, that was an honorable profession 100 years ago in America. Today, nobody ever wants to say they're a salesperson. It's like a bane on your existence. Maybe there were some jerks 30, 40 years ago. I don't know what happened, but suddenly everybody decided to throw out the baby with the bathwater. Nobody ever wants to admit to being called a sales professional of any kind, or even be caught doing sales for some reason. And which I don't understand, because your business is a selling business. You're not in the real estate business, you're in the sales and marketing business. I'm not in the coaching business, I'm in the sales and marketing business. Does that make sense? Okay, let me read you from this chapter. The big mistakes most wannabe entrepreneurs make. In launching businesses, most entrepreneurs do the opposite of spending 80% of their time selling. Before I read you the rest of this, if you Google online what percentage of their time do salespeople spend selling, you just Google it, you'll see all over the internet there's some studies that the average sales professional spends 1/3 of their time actually selling. And I'm here to tell you that's bullshit. In real estate, it's less. It's just less. Okay? If I was to hang out with realtors for like a 12-hour, 10-hour day, an 8-hour day or whatever, and watch what they do, they aren't selling even for 2-3 hours. And you know what selling means? Selling means actually engaging with past and potential clients. That's all selling means. Selling only has 2 objectives, by the way. Selling is just trying to set appointments and going on appointments. So listen to me carefully. The only thing you're supposed to be doing in your business all day long, every day is trying to schedule appointments and go on appointments with past or potential clients. That's it. That make sense? And according to this dude, you're supposed to do it with 80% of your time-ish. And yet, I'm telling you, real estate professionals spend less than 20% of their time because they're too busy scrolling social media, TCing their own files, and running back and forth to lunch in the bathroom or whatever they do all day long. Make sense? So you can't build a business that way. They spend most of their time, attention, energy, and capital on things such as setting up an office, designing logos, printing business cards, filing forms, writing contracts, refining the product, worrying, thinking, customer service, and fulfilling the product. Worrying and thinking. You know, you're supposed to get out of your business once in a while like this to think about strategy and make decisions and come up with ideas. And then when you get outside of this room, you're supposed to freaking stop thinking and only take action constantly. But what most people do is the opposite. They don't do any thinking time outside of their business, and then they go back into their business and they're all thinking and second guessing themselves and taking no action all day long every day. Does this make sense? Okay? Let me read you something else about selling. The supremacy of selling is number 3, is what we're talking about right now. There is a direct relationship between the success of a business at any given time, between your success and the percentage of your capital, temporal, and intellectual resources that are devoted to selling. Let me translate. There is a direct relationship between your success at this moment and the percentage of your time devoted to selling, plus the percentage of your money devoted to selling and marketing, plus the percentage of your team members devoted to your selling and marketing. And when you think of it that way, now you see why your business is not what you want it to be. Because you're not dedicating anywhere near enough time of your own to selling or marketing. You're certainly not dedicating anywhere near enough money. Most realtors I know invest nothing in their business, and then they wonder why the business doesn't grow. Well, you're a business owner, you're supposed to reinvest. You're supposed to reinvest. It's not optional, right? And then the third thing is, we don't have a team to help us with it. Like, any realtor that says, I want a lender because I want them to pay me some extra money, you know, under the table or whatever, he's getting it all wrong. That's usually the realtors that don't produce. The realtors that do a ton of business want the realtor that gets their freaking loans done so they don't have to deal with it and they can keep moving because they want to sell. Does this make sense? Okay? So there's a direct relationship between the percentage of your time and your money and your team that are dedicated to selling. Now, I got a problem. In my own coaching business, I'm now, as of today, officially up to myself plus 21 employees now. Okay? Which is weird for one coach, right? So I got 21 employees, and here's the problem. Are you ready? I am not a full-time salesman in my own business. I'm too busy coaching, and my calendar's flooded. So I'm a small, minor, part-time salesman, if that makes sense. Well, maybe not small, like we're doing speaking events for the next 2 days, so call it, I don't know, I'm a 25% salesman-ish, 25% salesman-ish in my business, okay? 75% of my time is, you know, mostly coaching and some team managing, right? Okay. Rosalind on my team is part-time selling. I would call her about 50-50 sales maybe, but she's got a lot of customer service and distractions too. And then I have 2 other people on my team that are full-time, very low rate, which we'll get to if you're interested, that help with the appointment setting process. So I've got 2 full-timers, low rate, part-timer and part-timer. Call it 3 people out of 21 on my team dedicated to selling. What's my problem? My problem is I don't have enough resources devoted to selling and marketing. So we grew our business a lot last year. It was a great year. But the problem is where we are now, and we're still continuing that, which is great. There is no chance for us to grow it from here. The way my business is currently constructed, there's no way to grow. But you guys don't think like that. You're thinking, I'm gonna go from 2 to 17 transactions because I'm gonna have willpower this year. Bullshit. You didn't have willpower last year, you're gonna have willpower this year. There's not enough of your time and your money and your team dedicated to selling. Does that make sense? You have to structure it right. Okay? Does this make sense? All right. So let's move on here. Number 3 we said is, you know, basically spend 80% of your time doing sales and marketing. And remember, I just want to remind you, another thing on this topic. How do you structure your calendar? I get answer is, of course, you don't. I know every other coach is gonna tell you I'm full of it. Every other coach, everyone you know, Mike and Tom and Brian and all those people are gonna say you got a time block. From 9 to 9:15, you have to scratch your butt, and from 9:15 to 9:30, you have to, clean your socks and whatever. It's bullshit. Every successful business person you know does 0 calendar time blocking. Everyone who's wealthy does no calendar time blocking. Nobody does calendar time blocking that makes a lot of money. The only thing they have on their calendar are appointments. This make sense? I mean, my calendar is nothing but appointments. I mean, I assure you, Bill Gates doesn't write from 9 to 9:45, I'm gonna do this, and from 9:45 to 10:30, I'm gonna do that, if you know what I mean. That's a nonsense. I don't know who teaches this crap. So my calendar is kind of insane. I won't take a lot of your time on this one, but I'll give you an example. When you see where we have the problem, I'll just give you my today calendar. Cool?
Yeah.
Today is Wednesday. 7:40 coaching call, Olivia Torres. 8:10 coaching lender. 8:10 coaching call, Cindy Fan, realtor. 9 o'clock in person, Jennifer Puglisi, broker. 10:20 coaching call, realtor Sonia. 12:30 call with broker Sonia Orozco. 1:30 to 3:30 here with you guys, and then Mark. 4 o'clock Armando Gonzalez, lender. 4:30 Henry Porche, lender. 5 o'clock Alicia Kawahata, realtor. 5:30 Island Nolasco. Island is a lender. 6 o'clock Karen Carrillo, realtor. And I'm done at 6:30. How much time do I have to sell? 0. How much time blocking am I doing? None, because even if there was, somebody no-showed on me this morning, I had a half an hour free, what did I do at the time? I didn't time block it. All I did was, I have a half an hour, how can I sell and market in my half an hour? So I started doing really silly things with my 30 minutes. You wanna see what I did? And I don't care if you're totally disorganized, you can build a great business. You don't have to be organized about it, you just have to be intentional about it. So I started sending messages out to sales and market. And some of the messages, I'll give you an example of one of them here, was John De La Rosa, right? Hi John, hope you enjoyed a great weekend, interested in getting started with coaching? Direct marketing message, right? Because I already gave him 2 free coaching sessions, and now it's like a yes or a no, and he's flaking. Which is normal too. Some people sign up, some people flake. I don't care, I just want to do the process. Make sense? Okay? So I'm trying to take those time blocks and use it for sales and marketing. Which kind of sales marketing? Who cares? Just try to schedule appointments or go on appointments with past or future clients. That's it. You guys with me? Yeah. Okay, good. So far, so good. Let's go to number 4. My last one of these things for you, right? What do I recommend for you in January, or frankly, just for the whole year anyway? Number 1, right? Just keep showing up, people. You've got to keep showing up. You can't say to yourself, well, I didn't get anything out of Dave last time, or Angel last time, or I don't feel so good today. That is exactly, if you can't get past number 1, you got no chance building a business. And it is not a coach's job to make you do that crap. I tell my clients, my job is not to motivate the unmotivated. If you're unmotivated, I'll recommend you to some other coaches. Go call Mike Ferry. Okay, let him go yell at you, or whatever. I don't want to waste my time with that crap. I want to work with people that want to build a business. You have to show up. Interesting? Okay. Number 2. What's number 2? Measuring. You got to know your numbers. Okay, and I'll show an example of that in a minute. Number 3. What's number 3?
Always be selling.
Is basically spend the heavy majority of your time selling, and who cares if it's organized, okay? Does that make sense, okay? You're basically trying to schedule appointments and go on appointments, schedule it. And if you're really new, you're just trying to schedule appointments all over the place, trying to find people that want to talk real estate, okay? And last one, number 4, is you have no chance of breaking through in your business unless you change the way you think, so number 4 is you gotta feed yourself. You gotta feed yourself. Books, tapes, CDs, podcasts, coaches, mentors, alive, dead, who cares? I don't care. And my favorite story on this one is I was in at Keller Williams in Downey. Number 1 agent out there, Jennifer Avalan, reaches out to us saying, I'm interested in private coaching. I never did coaching before. I go meet her in person in Downey, and she says, Dave, I want to go from 40 to 100. I said, great, what did you listen to on the way down here today? And she said, salsa. And I said, wow, you have no shot. And she said, what are you talking about? I said, you have no shot. At what? You have no shot to get to 100. She's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, don't get me wrong, it's not that I don't like salsa, it's just that you're not gonna get to 100 by listening to salsa. And the problem I have with most people is they don't listen to anything, ever. Are you with me? And she says to me, she's like, Dave, I didn't even hire you yet. You're telling me I have no shot of getting here. And I'm interviewing other coaches too. I'm like, I don't know why she got crazy. She hired me anyway for some reason, right? Look, you're not gonna break through in your business if you don't change you. You are the problem. You're here at this result level that you don't like because of you. The only way you're gonna get to here is by surrounding yourself with different people not named you. Right? This is why coaching and mentoring matters a ton. Okay? Jim Rohn, who when he was alive used to be the mentor to like Darren Hardy and Tony Robbins and these types, one of his favorite quotes, one of my favorite quotes is, "You are the sum of the 5 people that surround you the most." So, or as Gary Vee would say, you need to audit your inner circle. You need to throw a few people out. I'm not saying get divorced. I'm just saying you need to throw a few people out of your inner circle. And you need to replace them with intentionality. So do this exercise right now. Type it in your phone or your pad or whatever, right? Just write down, who are 5 people that you want to be influenced by in 2020, alive or dead? And this list is powerful and important because you're supposed to go to this list every day when you have pockets of time free. I'm either going to work on sales and marketing or I'm going to feed myself something that gets me rolling. That's how you build a business. That's how you build yourself. Now, I used to have on my list like Jesus, literally. My old coach, Keith Cunningham, because I had a business coach for a number of years. I used to have Tony Robbins on there and some other people. I used to have my wife on the list because she has qualities I admire and I wish I possessed and I don't, right? For next year, I have a kind of a radically new circle of people in there because I want to add new character attributes and qualities into my tool belt. So for example, this guy I'm going to obsess over this year, Michael Masterson, who wrote this book already because he's an incredible entrepreneur. It's just for me, I like his style too, it works. I put Jeff Bezos of Amazon on the list, not because of his personal qualities. I do not honor him as a man. I honor him as a businessman. I don't want his personal qualities. I want his, but he thinks so big, and he's such a maniac for innovation constantly, which is why certainly Mark, at the very least, I don't know about the rest of you guys, but Mark has seen us like pitch all kinds of products and new products and all this, and I love that. I get that innovation specifically from Bezos of Amazon, who went from selling books online to selling everything online to having TV shows and movies online to having a pharmacy to having like now trying to get people to Mars, and I mean, he's crazy. Okay?
I think he's doing mortgage also, or trying to get into mortgage also.
Is that right?
Yeah, he has the money for it. So.
Incredible. But I want that. So how do you become more like a person?
Study.
Spend time with them. That's right. There's no other way. So you need to be intentional about your 5, and you need to go to it on a daily basis. Okay, I'm listening in the car this morning. I'm listening to a sermon by a certain pastor. The guy's name is David Cho. He pastors a church in South Korea. So why do I care about David Cho's videos online? Because it's 750,000 members strong. It's the largest church on earth. This dude is a business builder, besides being a man of faith. And for me, that topic works, but whether that's your belief set or not, but he teaches, what he teaches sounds like Napoleon Hill teaching Think and Grow Rich, but from a faith-based perspective. So it works for me. So he's on my list this year. So I'm listening to him in the car this morning, right? A new kind of sermon he gave where he's talking about literally being pregnant with ideas and having burning desires and pursuing things. Because he had to go from being a non-believer to a believer to wanting to go into pastoring to having a church to having a first member to now trying to, a couple of years ago, go from $500,000 to $1 million. I mean, it's crazy stuff. They now own the second largest, he founded and started the second largest newspaper in South Korea, and the government shuts it down because it's often not, pleasant to the government. But where do these ideas come from? It comes from great organizational leaders, which is what you need to be. You need to develop these skills, right? Okay, so you gotta feed yourself. You've got to. If you come to my home, we have our version of a mini library in one room where we put in the hardwood floors and the shelves just because it was always a dream of ours. And the books are even organized. It's really anal retentive, right? And we've got a whole wall of business. And I'm going to tell you right now, I don't care if it's holidays or whatever, I read and listen far more than my clients. But that gives me the power to influence. If you're feeding yourself good stuff every day, business or otherwise, now you go on appointments with clients, you're going to be a much better conversationalist. People know when you're well fed and when your energy and your intellect's moving. people know. I don't mean you have to be a high brainiac IQ or some Ivy leaguer. I just mean when you're feeding yourself good stuff, it shows in the way you show up with people. Make sense? So I'm just saying, they used to say leaders are readers, right? Now you don't have to be a reader, you can do Audible and podcasts, all this stuff, right? Okay, that's your number 4. Cool? I want to just show you one last thing, and then we'll kind of start, keep it simple here for today, which is one way you could measure. Is that cool? In fact, I'm just going to take the numbers right off from someone I just did a session with. See if I can get internet access, hopefully. Maybe not. Do you know what the password is here, by chance?
It is,
Oh, I think I got it. I'm good.
Okay.
AMP what? The website, I mean, the internet?
Right now that you're kind of talking about who you surround, my wife got into a car accident today,
Okay.
and the dealer, where we're taking our car to fix the car. No, I met the body shop owner. I haven't really met him one-on-one. Super cool guy, very humble, very successful. I mean, I spent with him like half an hour, 45 minutes. He has a Bentley, but I was like, oh, this is one of your cars that you're fixing. He goes, no, that's my car. I was like, oh. So we just started talking about real estate, and he's like, what do you do? So of course, I say, do real estate. I try not to be pushy on people because you don't want to come off like that, but I told him, hey, let's have lunch. And like you said, surround yourself with people like that, and I'm just waiting to hang out. I mean, this guy just has, but he's very humble, and that's what I love is that he doesn't forget his clients. Like he goes, I'll text clients on, they'll text me late night, hey, I need your help, I got in a car accident, but that's what it's about. And that's why he is a success, is that he didn't let it go to his head and get to that point, where he thinks he's,
I appreciate that.
but he's a really cool guy.
It's
Really,
awesome.
really cool guy, and definitely gonna hang out with him.
You'll find most of, I think the stereotype of what Rich looks like is very different from the reality of it. There's a wonderful book from about 30 years ago, maybe it's 90s, named The Millionaire Next Door. It's a wild book. It's written by a guy named Dr. Thomas Stanley, who actually died in a car crash a couple of years ago. He was a professor at the University of Georgia, and he did a study of net worth millionaires in the United States of America, and what are the qualities, what are the commonalities, what are the patterns, what are the things you might want to try to do, if you know what I mean. And it's interesting because in general, they were extremely low-key as a group. There are exceptions to everything, of course, but in general, as a group, they were low-key, and they on average would not drive cars more than $37,000. This is, I don't know what it was. They were generally married for 15 years on average. They had their home was purchased on average for $430,000. I know this is old, so it might be higher now, but I mean, all of the character attributes were basically they valued things that didn't even cost money, like spending time with family and family experiences. I think you'll find that's the case. Mark and I were talking about, we had a gathering of people in my home last Friday, and so, because people that privately coach with me, they also get to come to my house once a month for small groups. It's included, right? And so we had a woman as the guest speaker, who's one of my coaching clients. She founded the Shade Room. You guys have your phone with you? Pop up the Shade Room on Instagram. Go to Instagram, pop up the Shade Room, S-H-A-D-E. Tell me how many followers you see there for the Shade Room. 17.3 million. She's the sole owner, she's in her 30s. African-American woman from downtown LA, right? Okay?
I always see this on my Instagram feed.
Yep. Instagram just notified her about a week ago that she is the 3rd most visited Instagram site on earth, that the followers on average visit the site 13 times a day. It's basically, they call it the Black TMZ, even though she hates hearing that. But basically, it's just comedy and humor and pop culture and all this kind of stuff from a black woman's perspective, right? And so she's built her community. They call them roomies. They're, they're roommates from the shade room, or the roomies, the roommates or whatever. And they're on it all the time. So that's why they have to post between 40 and 70 times a day. Look at the last post. When was the last post?
16 minutes ago.
Yeah, and then if you keep going by, you'll see it's just, they're fast and furious, and they're so careful. They're trying to post great stuff that gets client engagement is their goal, right? Anyway, they built a big business. So she's at the house, she was doing her, she was a guest speaker. We had a woman, Veronica, who owns a skincare company, who grossed 16 million last year. I don't know what her net was, but the year before it was 3-point-something million. We had another guy, Hector, who's a mortgage lender, who grossed 3.6 or 3.9, I forget, million last year. I saw his numbers on Friday. We have all these people there, and if you met them, you would have absolutely no clue. They're just like anybody else sitting in the room here, okay? The one thing is, they all know their numbers. They do all know their numbers. And so let me show you a little exercise. So here's a broker who I just got off a coaching call with.
You wanna plug in?
Sure. Okay, guys, want to take a look at this thing? So this is a broker. This was a first, I just had it just now, I was just finishing that call in the parking lot as I was coming in. It's a first coaching session. What does a coach do with a client in a first coaching session? And I don't know what other coaches do, and I don't care what they do, but I want to know the numbers. Because I have no idea how to help her until I know where things are. Does that make sense? So this is how she made money last year, if you can see it here. She is a broker owner with her own real estate office and agents and all that stuff, right? And she has personal production. And if you can see here, she did, and we've built this whole thing while we're on the first coaching call. I'm just typing it in while she's talking, right? And so she did 34 deals last year, personal deals. 21 came from database. Database, if you're taking notes, database, past client, referrals here. Nice and simple, okay? She did 5 deals from sign calls. She's a little bit like Angel and Patty like that, right? 4 deals from open houses, 4 deals from social media, that's it. And that added up to her 34, got it? Now, if you're gonna do this, now some of you are kind of relatively new, so it's easy to do these numbers anyway, but even if she doesn't remember exactly the numbers, I said, let's do our best guess, I'm okay with that for now. And then, I know this is her GCI, she told me, so I just broke it down based on the proportion, so I don't know if it's exactly right, but I don't care, I got a basic picture of where her money comes from. Because she's talking to me about how 2 years ago she did 45 deals, and then she did this new office, and now her deals for personal production went down this past year, as you can see, and she's worried about that. How do I get my deals back up because I want to get paid? And then I'm working with all these agents, which doesn't apparently pay her as well, right, or something like this. So I'm like, okay, but I need to know everything, right? So then so that's where her deals came from, and then how about her team? Well, her team produced 18 transactions outside of her last year, and she made an override of about 12 grand on it or whatever, which, as you can see, is so tiny, why would you invest the time in it, honestly, okay? And she's also getting escrow. We haven't filled in the numbers yet, but I know that's fairly significant, so it might be that changes the perception of working with realtors, if you know what I mean, right? Okay, but whatever it is what it is. Now, why do I like to do it this way? Because I like to, for this year, I don't really give a crap what she did last year. I just want to know what you want to do this year. But I don't want to know, I want to do 65 transactions instead of 30 or whatever. I just wanna know, I don't wanna know, I wanna make $100,000 instead of 200, because when you say those things, you get all freaked out and you never do them anyway. What I wanna know, oops, before this computer goes dead, let me go plug it in actually. 'Cause that usually means it ain't gonna last long. What I wanna know is kind of a by category thing. Like, let's just chunk this thing down and keep it simple, and I don't even care about money, I don't. I care about number of transactions, and I'm not saying like if you do a $3 million deal, it's not great, you get a bigger, but I'm a business coach. I wanna flood the frickin' funnel. Flooding the funnel means having tons of transactions so you have a stable business. Like where I can run around from day to day and Mark can see me and I don't have to think about money because I got a business that's cash flowing and has all kinds of new potential clients at all times. That's what I want. I don't care if it's a big client or small client, I just want a lot of stuff in the pipeline, right? Okay, so I asked her, let's go by category, what do you wanna do this year? And she said, she thought about it and said, I wanna do like 30 database deals. I wanna go from 21 to 30. Now, I don't know about you guys, do you think that's doable, not doable? Well, I mean, I looked at it and said, that sounds doable to me, right?
She said 21, sure.
She said, I wanna go from 5 to 15 signs. First she said 10, she said, you know what, let's make it 15, because I just did not do as many listings, and I didn't pick up the phone last year. If I just picked up the phone, I would do more listings. I mean, she's strong, okay? So she said, I really wanna chase that number. Instead of 4 deals from open houses, I wanna be more intentional and do 10. I wanna get out of the office and go back to doing more, okay? Instead of 4 deals from social media, I wanna, she knows I can help her with that one, so I wanna do some tricks on that one to get to 10. And then she said, I want the team to go from 18 to 50 deals, right? And I think it's doable because we have a couple new people and blah, 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 whatever, some of the people are, okay. So I said, when we did this, then I asked her, okay, now I want the scoreboard. Now this is, I said first, how many deals have you closed so far? It's January 15th, and she said, I've already closed 3 deals, as you can see. 3 total, and then, then you've got, I said break it down, so 1 was from database, do you see that, guys? And 2 were from sign calls. Does that make sense? I'm just gonna break this out here so it's easier to look at. Okay, and then I said, great, how many are in escrow? Well, there are 3 in escrow, and 1 is a database deal, and 1 is Google. And 1 is a walk-in, okay, great, well, we didn't have those as categories for deals, so we just added in it. And how many listings, and how many hot leads by category, and how many warm leads by category. So far, so good? And then I asked her this, I said, look, forget about last year, you wanna do 30 database deals. You wanna do 30 database deals, 2.5 a month, right? This is where we are right now. You have 1 closed, 1 in escrow, 3 hot, 4 warm. Do you think, broker, that you're ahead of pace, on pace, or behind pace? Give me your instinct. Each one of you give me an answer to that question. She wants to do 30 closes this year in database, 2.5 a month, or whatever that number comes to, right? She has 1 already closed, 1 in escrow, 3 hot, 4 warm. Is she ahead, on pace, or behind? Give me your opinion.
Behind.
Behind?
Yeah, because he's, okay.
Behind?
She's ahead.
Ahead?
I thought she was on pace.
On pace?
She's behind.
She's behind, okay. So I asked her the same question, and she said, I'm behind, and I'm a little behind in my own feeling about this. So I said, okay, so let's color code this thing, so she gave it a yellow, like a little bit of a warning, like a little behind, I'd probably say the same thing. My own opinion is just because there's only, 1 close. She's supposed to get 2.5 a month. She's got only 1 in escrow. She's got the 3 hots and 4 warms. She might be good for the next month or 2, if you know what I mean, but she's gonna start a little behind. So it's close, it's like, I don't care I don't care if you decide it's ahead or behind. I don't care about that. What I care about is that you do this. Okay, let's go to the next one, sign calls. She wants to do 15 sign call deals. She has, which is like a little more than 1 per month, right? 2 closed and 2 warm leads. Ahead, on pace, or behind?
On pace.
Right on.
Right on pace? On pace?
Yeah, I agree.
On pace? On pace? I would say on pace too. She didn't think so. She felt like she was behind, so she wanted to put a red there. Okay. I don't care. It's her business, not mine, right? And we did this for every category. And obviously these 2 categories where she's not even supposed to get deals and she already got a deal each on these ones, I told her, congratulations, those are extra deals, right? Okay. And then we did the same with her team, right? And her team She called this green is ahead, just for her, this is just the way she likes to do it. Blue means on pace, so her team that has to do 50 is actually on pace. She said 2 closes, 3 listings, 3 escrows, 4 listings, because they got to do, remember, about 4 deals a month. 2 already closed, 3 escrows, 4 listings, and she said there are a lot of hot, warm leads. She's gonna start accumulating from her own realtors the number of total hot, warm leads, okay? So when I did this with her, I told her, look, do you think, now that we did this exercise, we're gonna go chase not 82 deals and $1 billion in revenue, we're gonna chase a couple of individual numbers, right? And they're not all equal, right? This one is more important. This one is second most important, right? This one's third most important, this is fourth most important. We're gonna chase 4 numbers, and every time we do a coaching session, this has to be, you should be updating this daily, I told her, but every time we do a coaching session, we're gonna start with this. Now, I asked her the question, I'm gonna ask you the same question, pretend you're her. Do you think it's possible to do these this year based on what you're seeing in the pipeline? And based on tracking it this way? What's your instinct on this?
Yes, yeah. Doable, it's early.
Okay, so she said, yeah, that's doable. I said, you realize that, and I'm just the coach, I'm not the one doing the business, you're the one doing the business, but looking at, if we just spend the whole year looking at this number and this pipeline, and we just obsess over the pipeline for each individual, it's gonna tell you what to do every day. Because right now, you put that, you better get your butt going on sign calls and open houses. You better start getting some listings to put the signs out, and you better start getting going on open houses. Now, she's an experienced, strong realtor who I don't ever have to spend a conversation teaching her about scripts, and we don't have to waste time on selling, right? But for whatever reason, she ran an office now for the first time. She decided to go play with all her time to make 12 grand. Stupid. Are you with me? Now we'll find out, maybe the escrow will make it better because she's gonna fill in those numbers for next time. What I'm trying to tell you is if you chunk down your business by marketing channel, it's kinda easy to do. But you have to keep showing up and you have to measure. That make sense? And then this is gonna make you stay in selling most of the time. And while you're at it, go feed yourself.
And when you say by marketing channels, that mean like where to direct your marketing to?
It's
Yeah, like, for
where you're getting
example-
business from. Like say it's open houses, say it's signs, say it's your sphere of influence, say it's a CPA you're best friends with. Say it's someone who's a policeman and all the policemen love you at the station, that kind of stuff, so you get a lot of business in there. It's making sure you're tracking where each piece of your business comes from.
You know, like database or open houses, or it could be Zillow, or it could be,
Social
whatever those things are,
media.
social
Your
media.
Your source,
from
I
there,
think.
so-
Source.
Yeah.
Source. So now what we do is, when we have coaching calls going forward, we spend just a couple quick minutes looking at these numbers, updating how she feels about each one of them, and then we might spend time on 1 or 2 of them, right? Now, honestly, even though these 2 are red, right now, I wanna spend more time with her on database anyway, because she knows she's gotta get her butt going doing those, and we'll track the numbers. But database is the 13 number. Maybe we spend time talking about how do we generate, get more sign calls, or put out more signs, or get more listings, or whatever.
So
But we'll spend our coaching time, trying to drill into these things, yeah.
I apologize. So her target is 30 for the year, but she's got 1 so far.
One
Two,
closed,
two.
one closed,
Uh-huh.
no, that's right, in database, 1 closed, 1 in escrow, 3 hot, and whatever the,
Oh, okay,
4
so,
warm, or
okay.
whatever.
So that's what she has in hand so far for the year.
Yeah, so we just changed it, we don't have to do tomorrow, everything goes right in here, we
Okay, got
just
it.
change the numbers as we go along, does that make sense?
So you have a central area to focus and concentrate on.
Yeah.
And just know where you're at.
According to a bunch of studies, 3/4 of all people get better when they review metrics constantly. So actually, let me give you the real statistics on this. It's from a great book called Top Dog, The Science of Winning and Losing. About 25% of people, when they start tracking numbers and do it regularly, improve drastically. They improve radically in their business. About 50% of people improve incrementally in their business. About 25% of people either don't improve or get worse because they don't like competition or shared numbers. So it's not for everyone,
Freaks them out.
but I have to do it with everyone as a coach. Because if it's not for them, then we got different issues, right? Does that make sense?
So for every source of income, you break it down, how many, clients or prospects you want in each one, or
How many closes you
how many
want.
closing you want
Right.
from each one?
That's how many closings she wants is column E, right?
Okay.
2020 target, if you will, right?
What do you know at this point, if you wanna fine tune it, kinda get to figure out which one is, can give her higher income for her time?
Yeah, so it probably won't surprise you to know that, one of the things I do with her, especially as a broker, is I want her to get paid on other stuff. Honestly, I want her to get paid on loans. Honestly, I want her to get, I don't care whatever she gets it paid on, but I wanna start adding things here. I wanna review her escrow and how she gets paid on escrow and see if there's better options for her. I don't mean to sound mercenary, and I don't want her to violate any relationships that are important to her, I don't wanna do that, and I tell people that. But, I'm a businessman, and salespeople don't think like this, but business owners wanna make more and work less all the time. For me, if I was being truthful with private coaching clients, this is what I tell them, our objective is not really to make more, work less. Our objective, honestly, is to make more and work the same. Because you're gonna find that if you're building a great business, you're not really gonna work a lot less, but you're gonna do a lot less yourself over time. So you're just gonna be thinking a lot more and managing moving parts, which is an easier life, if that makes sense, right? You can't make more and work less, but it's really more this kind of work instead of this kind of work, right?
So is this scenario is for like January, and each month is gonna be the same?
No,
And you
we're just
changing the
trying,
numbers?
we'll just change the whole year, all year long, we're gonna keep changing these numbers. It's not just for January, it's for the, this is what she wants, this is her target, she wants 30 database deals in the whole year, right?
Yeah.
So maybe we're in the middle of March now, and now she has 8 closes in here, and 2 in escrow, and 1 listing, and no hot leads. We're just gonna keep changing those numbers
Changing the numbers
as we go along, so I can see what's done, what's in pipeline right now. Are we ahead or behind? Great, well, let's work on the stuff we're behind, dude.
Yeah.
Or let's, if we're okay on most things, let's work on
Or
the stuff that
switch
pays better.
something around, or switch your source, if it's, something is not working. Not really?
Yeah, but remember, here's the key with this one, is all we're doing is we're starting with the ones that are already working.
Oh, okay.
Which is the one way you can protect yourself from doing something really stupid in business. So I'll give you one last one, and then I know what do we got? We're done now. So one
Yeah.
last one for you. Don't do what a lot of people do in your industry, which is take a marketing channel that works and throw it out.
Oh, wow.
My brother-in-law 7 years ago asked me for help when he was 75% of his time door knocking, 25% open houses, but he was getting no business from door knocking. And then I said, give me your numbers, and his numbers were pretty simple. It was 2/3 database, 1/3 open houses. So I said, dude, what are you doing spending your time door knocking? You're not good at it. And he said, I am good at it. I said, your numbers say you suck at it. And he said, well, I used to get deals from it. I'm like, okay, let's go back 3 years. And we went back 3 years, and 10% of his business came from door knocking, but 75% of his time he's out door knocking. I'm like, dude, stop door knocking, or do 10% of your time door knocking.
Just jumping out, that is a perfect example of not tracking and also thinking with your feeling and your, oh, I've got this and I'm super good at this. No, you're shitty at that, and be okay with that. And look over here, here's what you're really good at. Do more of this. That's really what it comes down to. Do more of this over here because you're really good at that. And that's what this kind of thing, this kind of tracker is going to help you do. And if you ask Dave nicely, I'm sure Dave can send you a generic tracker through me. And that way you can actually start off on the right foot.
Go through him. I'll get him to Mark and disseminate. Is that
Okay.
cool?
So,
Yeah, with pleasure, with
you
pleasure.
know,
I want it more.
no problem.
Let's do takeaways. I've got to get rolling here with Mark. One takeaway, what is one idea that caught your attention the most from anything we talked about today? For you, most important thing.
Have to start tracking.
Start tracking, good.
To set up, like, to actually write down the goals of what I plan on doing this year.
Good, excellent.
Have a precise target of different categories. Know where you're starting, where you got target, and specifically track it every day, every month. Details.
I can tell you right now how much in our bank account so far this month by the morning, what's the pace that we're on for this month, and how much ahead or behind our plan is. And then the gal that does most of the selling texts me every morning with every person that she's trying to close today, names and dollar amounts, and then a bottom line target, like she said she's trying to close 3,000 today. She's got 1,000 so far. Okay? But it's like we know our numbers. And then we use the numbers as our menu, if you will. Like, this is what we gotta do today. So let's go chase that, okay? Good. Any other takeaways or?
I was thinking about that, what you said about the, keeping, doing 80% of the, doing 80% of the time what you're supposed to be doing, which is selling.
Good. Doing what you, 80% of the time spelling.
Yeah, I think that was my takeaway too, just try to sell more and just not overthink it.
Very good. How important that is, right? Good. Mark?
Just reinforcing tracking and having your goal written down.
Sweet. Okay, guys, that was helpful today.
Yeah, thank you, that was
Thank you
good.
so much.
See you next month.
Excellent.
Great.